Welcome to the first ever episode of Fantasy Football Ruined My Life, brought to you by the Fantasy Football Collective. Did you trade Tom Brady for a fourth round pick or say Will Fuller and then he unretired 30 days later? Then fantasy football may have ruined your life. And that word I tried to say was later, but it came out later.
That word may have ruined the opener.
Yes. Have you ever mispronounced a 5-letter word? Starting it again. Welcome. Well, no, we're not doing that again. I'm your host, Josh.
To Last Week Tonight. I'm John Oliver.
Well, good thing your internet broke up during that, Jay, because that was perfect to just ruin that joke for us. I don't know if that went out live, but you glitched out for me. I'm your host, Josh Christensen. This is Jay Christensen. This is Andrew Christensen. No relation. We are, as you may have remembered, if you're watching this show, formerly the Brothers of Dynasty. We decided to rebrand, took a month off to kind of readjust our show. And you know what? We're trying to give hot takes and analysis before, and we're still going to do a little bit of that. But really, I think just everyone needs a place to complain about terrible things in fantasy, geek out about news that's happening around the league, and really just dive into everything we all want to talk about in fantasy football, but our friends and family won't let us do it. This is the place for you. Come here to geek out, obsess about your favorite things, and fantasy football's ruined all of our lives, so let's just get together and have a drink and talk about fantasy football, because what else are we going to do on a Thursday night at 9 p.m.? Anything to add to that, Jay, Andrew, and also, what are you guys drinking tonight?
Yeah, I don't have much to add. We don't need, there's so many shows out there with experts or quote unquote experts giving there's some great stuff out there, great advice. We want to
analyzing miles per hour run off of, clock and frames per second.
Top speed, yeah.
But we take that in. We don't need to be, another expert out there trying to peddle that. We want to just have fun with fantasy football and just talk about what happened during the week, the news, and just our teams, whatever we want to talk about in regards to football, and just have fun with it instead of trying to give you hardcore analysis about, footwork and shit like that. I don't know.
Because at the end of the day, we're all playing a game based on a game that grown men play for millions of dollars and we talk about for free. In fact, probably at a deficit at this point with how much we've lost playing fantasy football and losing. Andrew, what do you have to add here?
We are very much commenting on a game upon a game, and it's like we're commenting on someone else's Twitch live stream about someone else playing video games. We're so far removed from anything of substance. But yeah, no, I feel like you get burnt out sort of parading as a so-called expert, and I'd rather get into like the feelings underneath. How many times have I gone back and forth between, do I want to add one more fantasy league, or do I want to quit every league I have and just start anew without
have you ever
garbage?
Burn it all down.
Burn it down
to the ground.
If you haven't had that thought, then you have not taken fantasy football way more seriously than you should.
Yeah, we've all said at one point, why am I doing this? Like, what is the point? Like, when your running back gets stuffed at the goal line, they bring in the backup scores, and then you're just like, what? And then you get pissed, and you're like, why am I even mad? It's a fake game.
Why is this getting a rise
all for? I spent $25 on buy-in for this league, and I'm so emotionally invested. What am I doing? This is the show for you.
It just hurts. It just hurts is all.
Oh my God.
Hurt feels, when you win, the losing feels worse, the winning's good, but like you feel the hurt more. Like,
it's so fleeting.
Why can't I just
the
enjoy
winning?
this?
I have a theory that everyone who plays fantasy football is secretly just a sadomasochist. It's just like a real It's a real sub in this relationship. Just wants to be whipped and put in chains. And anyways, maybe we should move on.
I really love fantasy football. It's really actually fun. It's just really, it can.
Josh, I think you're
really
onto something. Fantasy football is an analog for sadomasochistic relationships. Yes.
Oh, also, before we go on, we need to share this comment right now. Look at that setup for Josh Fire from our friend Tommy Tipple.
No, literally, your room is on fire.
Welcome to my studio. Opulence, baby. Oh,
you
look at
own
these
everything.
walls. I own foam.
You're in a closet,
walls.
Josh. It's a closet.
It's just a really
corner.
closet.
No, it's not a closet. It is a corner of my 1-bedroom apartment in Upper Manhattan, New York, that I share with my wife and 2 dogs. So I get 5 by 5 square in the corner of my bedroom with a curtain that's over here and going around, and foam padding on the walls outside of here. But it sounds so crystal clear. But we should get on to actual football. We should talk about actual football.
I don't think that's
today.
the point of this podcast anymore.
It's really not the point of this show. But
why
we
not?
Should get
why
to
don't
it.
we get ahead?
Because we've been off for about a month, and some shit happened in the NFL since the beginning of March. Honestly, this offseason is fucking drunk. It's out of control. So I want to see how much I can go through of what's happened just in the time that we've been off. In the next minute, say, let's put some fake time on the fake clock, and let me see how fast I can go through all of the things that have happened. Okay, ready to time me, Jay? That's clearly not a timer. That's a lock screen on your phone.
Jay's got the hand time. I'm going to do the laser time. So
give my official and unofficial 40 times. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Tom Brady retires. Tom Brady unretires. Russell Wilson traded to Denver. Aaron Rodgers not traded to Denver. Carson Wentz traded again to the football Commanders. Oh, by the way, the football team is now the Commanders. Deshaun Watson traded to the Browns. Matt Ryan traded to Indy. Devontae Adams traded to the Raiders. Khalil Mack traded to the Chargers. Tyreek Hill traded to Miami. Trubisky to Steelers. Mariota to Falcons. Christian Kirk breaks the wide receiver market for no good reason. Bruce Arians retires. Von Miller to the Bills. OT playoff rules changed for the better. Juju to the Chiefs. Marquez Valdes-Scantling to the Chiefs. Winston back to New Orleans. Cincy gets 3/5 of an offensive line. Chase Edmonds and Mostert to Miami. J.C. Jackson to the Chargers. Fournette re-signs with the Buccaneers. Connor resigns with the Cardinals. Rams trade Robert Woods to the Titans. Rams sign Allen Robinson. Evan Ingram signs with the Jaguars. Jackson Mahomes' brother and Brittany get married, presumably on TikTok. Raiders sign Chandler Jones. Dallas trades Amari Cooper. Dallas signs Michael Gallup. Chargers sign Gerald Everett. Eagles bring back Kelly Green, the color. Breece Hall, Chris Olave, and Desmond Riller kill the combine. Traylon Burks, Karen Williams, and Isaiah Spiller do not. Nobody's opinion on rookies change whatsoever. Will Smith slaps Chris Rock in the face. Somehow it's bad news for the Cowboys. Justin Fields gets no help. DJ Chark goes to Detroit. Chris Godwin re-signs with the Bucks. Jimmy G still on the 49ers. Diggs extension with the Bills. Wide receivers getting paid everywhere. And Baker Mayfield worries about the future of his career as a commercial actor.
Sticks the landing.
Wow.
How much was that? What was my time? Was it a 4:31? 4:39. Thanks. That's some Chris Olave
just
speed
under
right
4:04. But we got to go to the that's unofficial.
Holy
time.
Tommy, what was my time? I know you were down there ticking into the data. What? Holy shit, guys! A lot happened
on TikTok.
That was unbelievable. That was fast. I was losing my breath while you were. I was like, I have to breathe. Like I was holding my breath while you were talking. You were talking so fast.
I had to.
How are you even breathing?
I had to force myself to keep moving and reacting as things went on, or else I just felt like I was paralyzed by the blazing speed of that recap.
It was a lot. I'm pretty proud of myself.
You almost Justin Ross. You were. It's like you had a hamstring pull for a second there. But you made it through.
Wait,
I ran the fastest 40 time in history, but got injured doing it.
Yeah.
Look, John Ross, you'll always have that record.
John Ross. Yeah, I think I said Justin Ross, but yeah.
Well,
Oh, Justin Ross. No, he doesn't run a 4.22.
Yeah, he can't.
yeah.
No, that's not going to happen.
Was he even there? I don't
remember.
I don't know.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. But the point is, a lot of shit happened in this offseason, and we're going to talk about all of it. We're going to talk about all of it, right? We're going to
every single one of those storylines. This is a 3-hour podcast.
Yeah, we're going to talk about what we feel like talking about, what we've been obsessed with in this offseason, starting with you, Andrew. What have you been obsessed with?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say obsessed, but I'd like to talk about a little thing that happened called the Combine. It brings so many questions to mind, like why and who cares? And if nobody's going to change their opinion about the players that they liked beforehand, why are we even going through the charade of bringing all these players together, going through all these drills just so that we can throw it all out in the end? But no, I think what it really comes down is that's the exact thing we like to see with the Combine, is that all these players come together on the same field and can kind of participate in all the drills side by side. And you kind of get that level playing field. It's kind of the same reason why something like the Senior Bowl is really nice, because sometimes you see those small school guys step up and be able to perform with, the more highly touted guys. It's just very interesting to see how they perform in that environment with everybody else, being timed by the same people, having the same players throw to the... It's about the most even metric that you could get for these guys. And it's just kind of fun to watch, like, high-level athletes just kill it.
I gotta be honest, I really enjoyed watching the Combine. Like, I watched a lot of the Combine.
The televised event this year was cool. I think the only thing that you hate about that is how it shifted everything forward. Some of these events that we'd be hearing about from like earlier in the day and probably like better times for performance, leaving more time to finish things by the end of it. Sorry, 3-cone drill.
I waited so long to watch the 3-cone to watch it and just saw.
I know
more
you were
drills.
Inconsolable that night.
I wanted the 3-cone
so long.
Traylon Burks did a 3-cone.
It's not good.
Not on TV, but I mean,
no,
he did it. Yeah. And who else? Jahan Dotson. There was like 7 guys who did the 3-cone.
Yeah,
not a lot did the 3-cone. No,
but I mean,
it was a lot. But what did
Traylon
happen?
Burks is the one who should have tried not to do the 3-cone. I mean, because he was never going to do good on that. But
no, that wasn't going to happen. He was both smaller and slower than we thought he was going to be, or we were told he was going to be. We're going to get hate mail for this from the Traylon Burks hive. It was, but the most impressive thing was watching Jordan Davis at 341 pounds.
Oh yeah,
run a 4.7.
Oh yeah,
what? That's stupid. That's ridiculous. How he ran faster than Kieran Williams.
Poor Kieran Williams.
Most people ran faster than Kieran Williams. So.
Yeah,
that's Kieran one way Williams. You can be the talk of the Combine. Only 2 things you can do. You can be the guy who runs the 4.2, or you could be Kieran Williams who runs the 4.7.
or you're the control.
Too slow, and then that's all people talk about too. So it's one of those things can get you either the hype, or it can kill you. Everybody in the middle is like, yeah, I mean, they did what they expected, whatever. Even the ones that were maybe a little bit worse than you thought. Traylon Burks wasn't terrible. He just wasn't. No, he wasn't DK Metcalf. He wasn't, running for 3.8 or whatever at 6'4", 6'3", and he also wasn't 6'4", 6'3".
He was running 4.5. He was running 4.55 at 6'2", 225, not 6'4", 238.
But,
go ahead, Andrew.
No, I was just gonna say, but like ultimately, like how do we all feel about, like, does it ultimately matter like what we watched? Because you hear like the way a lot of people sort of feel now is they've taken it with a large grain of salt, and it's like, let's see where these players land, and it does feel like you come out like unchanged with the pay. Be like, oh, I watched a lot of these things. Yeah, we watched Traylon Burks not do what he was supposed to, but whatever. He's still good for his size. And if he lands on the Packers because they've got some first-round picks and are looking for receivers, then he's right back up my board. It's like, what does it all mean?
Well, ultimately, in the end, it is an exercise for the NFL. It wasn't created for the fantasy community. Despite what you know,
which is a very good point for a lot of things.
So it does. Strangely, the NFL it's their event. It's
not for you.
So like it's valuable for those guys to get up close and personal interviews, all that stuff. Some of the other stuff, like while they will probably use that in their, evaluations of players, it's probably a little spectacle. I mean, they're throwing it in prime time now, so it obviously gets some ratings. But ultimately, that will influence where they draft the players to a degree, which will then influence us fantasy people into where to draft players when they get first round capital, second round, third, wherever they fall. Guy goes 7th round. Kieran Williams goes 7th round. Yeah, you could. No, don't. You're not taking him. You're probably not anyways, but like you're not taking him till like the 4th round of your rookie drafts when you're playing Dynasty. So, but we're all being influenced by what the NFL team's doing there. So I honestly think it's their event. We're getting little glimmers of like, I thought that guy was fast.
Yeah, it's like an inside look at the process.
But they still have pro days. Like, do pro days. Like, you'll see a guy have a pro day 2 weeks later. He'll run a little faster, but you're like, yep, nothing to see. He's fine. See, I told you, he's a second faster.
Well, that's the other
everything with the fantasy community is a bit of a Rorschach test because, like, if the player you like does well, the combine matters. If the player you like doesn't do well, the combine doesn't matter. And like the truth is somewhere in between, and it does vary case to case. Like it matters, but it also is not the be all and end all of everything out there. You know what I mean? Like it is like you're watching people on a field in the same drills, with the same timings, with the same everything around there. It's kind of a control, but at the same time, like, yeah, maybe a guy doesn't do as well on the 40 because, they just didn't like quite train their start enough. You know what I mean? They weren't really great at coming out of a 3-point stance into the start. There's ways.
How much track training does it take to be able to do a proper?
They all should be. I feel like they all do that.
At the same time,
do
like,
all get that training.
Yeah.
Because everybody is.
It matters and it doesn't matter. Like it matters when like you prop up like I think it matters more in the case of a guy like Treylon Burks in the fantasy conversation, not for his necessarily his NFL conversation, because I think the NFL has been pretty consistent on Treylon Burks that he's a good prospect that should be drafted in the back end of the first round, which is great. Like he's a good prospect. Fantasy community went crazy over Treylon Burks and was like, this guy's DK, this guy's or AJ Brown, this guy's going to run a 4.3. He's 6'4", 235. He's going to crush the combine. And like, he didn't crush the combine. And then those same people were like, well, for his size, 4.55 is really good. And I'm not saying it's not. Like, he's a big guy. We've seen him on tape. When he gets a head of steam, like, he's tough to bring down. There's a lot to like about Treylon Burks. But, like, that's not the argument you were making for him in fantasy. You were making the argument that this guy was going to be DK Metcalf level size speed combo. And he's not. Does that mean Treylon Burks is going to be a bust? Absolutely not. He could be a perfectly productive NFL player and a really great fantasy asset, even a great fantasy asset. But your arguments are flawed when you're making them and they don't stack up in the combine. It can't not matter when it's convenient to you, which is what drives me crazy on Twitter, is just this kind of cherry picking of content and data and smashing it on a scatter plot. It's just like, I picked these two stats that suit me well and I put them on an X and Y axis and I have a scatter plot. Aren't I smart? I have a scatter plot, everybody.
I drew a line across
Scatter plots are cool. I mean, I will say,
Scatter plots are great. I love the look of a scatter plot.
Who doesn't love a good scatter plot?
It's awesome. I'm for it. But
my biggest thing with this class is like, I don't feel like there's like, besides maybe Breece Hall, I feel like setting himself apart from running backs, which most people tend to agree, not everybody, but I think that wide receiver stack is, to go with Treylon Burks is very close. Like I just like, if anybody's saying like this guy, let me tell you, Jameson Williams is the most talented, the best overall receiver in this class, or Drake London is, or Garrett. I just don't think that's like, I think they're all really close. I think draft capital's going to, probably give you the separation you need to maybe know how to draft them a little bit. But any one of those guys could hit. I mean, there's a stack of 4 or 5 guys that all have very, very high upside, and are all talented receivers. I just don't think there's no Jamar Chase here that you're just like, yeah, that guy. All right, clear 101 or Breece Hall. I think just kind of separates himself where it's like, yeah, there is no. So if someone's trying to tell you like, yes, Treylon Burks, slam dunk #1, I just like that's just not true. All these other guys are very good. Not that he can't be the best, but just because said it beforehand and it happened, it doesn't mean it was. If
you have the 101 and want to take Treylon Burks, more power to you.
It's
like
fine.
good for you. Live your life. Do what suits you. Believe, truly. But like, it doesn't mean you're right. Certainty is an emotion, everybody.
Yeah, and it's a fine pick too. It's not like if that's your dude.
He could be awesome. He could be terrific. But like, I feel like this idea that it's like a slam dunk. Clearly, you're a fucking idiot if you don't have him in a tier of his own is ridiculous. Like,
you know who else could be really awesome? Christian Watson. I think
Christian Watson could
be
the
year
shit.
Where the whole first round is interchangeable.
It's I don't know if it goes. Yeah, talk about size, speed. He's actually 6'4", so size.
I'm being slightly hyperbolic, but not really.
I don't know if he'll get the draft capital to kind of force that.
It's true.
I love Drake London. Tommy Tipple's speaking my language because that's basically how I have it too. I think
I do love Drake London.
I
London 1, Burks
Wilson,
5 is
whatever.
the comment. I love that, but
Wilson and London are very close for me.
But I think that's the 5. Like if you have that 5, I feel like when we play it out 3 years from now, I think it could be any one of those guys. I think there's enough talent there that like who knows? Like shit happens when you get to the NFL. So we don't know how it's going to work out, but yeah, that's probably how I have it a little bit more with the London up top and Burks a little bit further.
Like London, Wilson, Williams, Olave, Burks, Dotson,
something like that. Yeah,
Watson, Moore, Pickens, something like that. I don't know. I like them all to varying degrees.
They're good, but I feel like there's a lot of people that have like the Wilson, Burks sort of back and forth, and I'm like, I think you're comparing him to the wrong Ohio State. Like, I'm more comfortable with the Burks Olave discussion and debate.
And these guys could all go first round. It'll be like wide receivers could really, and a lot of teams.
There could be 7. There could be Oh, especially with the trades that happened.
Atlanta should keep trading into the first round to take all of them. I mean, Atlanta has no receivers on their team. I mean, they should just try to trade.
Yeah, they have
a lot of wide receiver. Like the Jets want a receiver.
Houston would take one.
Yeah,
Houston should
Atlanta,
take one.
Kansas City, Green Bay. Do the Browns still want one? I know they traded for Amari
They should
Cooper,
want
but
one.
They were rumored, like there were some mocks of Garrett Wilson to the Browns.
The Rams are in on it. No, they don't have a first round.
If only they had a pick. They're trading back in.
I mean, listen, I'm a Chargers fan at 17. If Jameson Williams or Chris Olave's there, I would love that. Although I think the prudent pick is all right tackle. But nonetheless,
screw prudent.
If they picked Penning, if the Chargers picked Penning, I'd be like, oh, yeah, that's good. Great. Cool. Solid pick. If they picked Olave or Jameson Williams, I would be like full on Mina Kimes when the Seattle Seahawks picked DK Metcalf. Whoa! Yeah! That's what I would be like.
Like, I immediately need to go live on Twitter and just shout my excitement.
I will. I'll go full Stephen A on Twitter. Bolt up, baby! But back to the original question. Does the combine matter? Why?
You already answered. Yes, and no.
Did you answer the question why?
I mean, honestly, most things in life, I'm not saying everything, are a yes and no. It's just like, is this?
It's true.
In fantasy especially, it's just like, could this player be good this year? Well, yes.
But the better question is it good TV? Jay?
The combine, we watched it, so clearly it's great TV.
That might answer the question. Yeah, I think it was it's very much like niche viewing. It's like if you're into it, you're into it. I don't know if it's good TV or like compelling TV, but it's like I'll watch it.
I mean, the
I
fact
was
that they
into
put
it.
it in prime time, like, I mean, it is NFL Network, though. What else?
I'm
It's
gonna be
off-season,
honest.
it's like, you know,
I didn't know what my kink was before watching the combine, but it's 300-pound plus guys running sub 5 second 40s. That's
I mean,
my
it's
kink.
exciting, yeah. It's kind of like a mini Olympics
when,
in a
when
way.
the
Like,
gauntlet started, my pants were off.
it's a track meet.
I watched Ike Ekwonu, and man, 6 to midnight. Am I right, Rich Dodson? High five, baby. Stupid joke.
One of the comments from Tommy earlier was like the players had to be there till 11:30. I don't know. Maybe that's a good thing. You want to see.
Is
How these guys-
Indianapolis
They'll be
Central
playing
time?
primetime games.
No,
so
but
they
you got to
should be
play
able to-
under pressure, like sleep deprivation. You know, you do a long flight, you don't sleep very well. I want to see how these guys perform when
You
they're
have to
heavy.
be in Indianapolis, maybe the worst
Yeah.
metro city next to Cincinnati in the world.
They all rave about it. All the NFL guys love Indianapolis.
They
Every
love
single person who's done it,
Indianapolis?
They love it.
And
They're
does
like
your
great
idea-
city. They think it's a Field Yates on the first draft podcast was like great. We love Indianapolis. Great. for
Everyone knows he has terrible
Fantastic.
taste. No, not really. No, he's great. I love Field.
See, I'm serious.
No, but
Have you been to San Francisco? That place is fucking lit.
do you also think that the idea of just being televised
They don't
like,
play
makes
in
it
San
more
Francisco.
of a pressure
They play,
situation?
like-
I feel like it ups the like when it was more of a closed ring type thing, but like now it's like no, these drill. You're doing this on TV.
I completely
that
agree.
Yeah. I think
I
that
don't
helps.
know.
And you want high pressure situation. You know, you want them to be able to like, run the gauntlet at, make it 3 a.m.
They're like light the fires.
I watch you running the gauntlet at 3 a.m.
It just
The
becomes,
gauntlet
like,
is a fun drill to watch. I want to watch offensive linemen run the gauntlet.
for
This
no
is the-
reason.
Next year will be
no
the year
reason.
when the combine's just going to turn into the Hunger Games. Like, yeah, under pressure.
Now the ball is on fire.
Yeah.
You have to catch it.
You know you can't wear gloves.
Stanley Tucci comes to MC it. That's a Hunger Games.
Kenny
movie right
Pickett's like, I'll throw it. These are flame retarded. These gloves here, totally fine throwing the.
He's like these gloves that when you have smaller hands, there's less fingertips to get.
You ever heard of the of glove? These are like
Gotta protect my fingies.
Oh,
I'm
you
working on
did.
my stretching gels, Kenny Pickett. I got that
8 3/4.
Oh,
Oh,
baby!
you didn't bring your oven mitts to the combine? You're gonna be sorry.
I just pictured instead of Teddy Two Gloves, Kenny Two Gloves, but it's mitten style hands that he's throwing with, not fingered gloves.
It's like, hey guys, throw it.
Throwing pot pies around, fresh out of the oven.
Oh, that's stupid. That's enough
Just
of the
make some-
combine. Let's
just
move
make some
on.
bread, guys. Go deep.
Next
And-
topic, Jets.
The last question was, who'd we get excited about? And the answer is, who cares?
Jordan
Moving on.
Davis, Ike Ekwonu. I'm into it. I still think the Jags should take an offensive tackle with the first pick. Screw Aiden Hutchinson. Get that guy out of here. Give me Icky or give me Evan Neal. Nobody's going to trade up to the
All right,
101.
it's a strong
Jay.
take.
101. Get it.
I don't know why. I don't know why Jags aren't out there just being like, yeah, from everything I hear, Detroit's taking Willis number 2. If you want your QB, Pittsburgh, trade off. Panthers, come on. Who do
Get
you
up here.
want? Let's move on. Jay, what have you been obsessed with this offseason?
Well, free agency obviously happened, so that's the biggest story. And you obviously ran down every single storyline that happened in a minute and 30 seconds.
Bolt up, baby.
I just look at another thing where you kind of take it all in for everything that happens. Free agency for fantasy seems to be the epitome of like the highs and the lows. Like everything is like the worst move that ever happened or the great, like my team, I have this player, he landed in this spot and now he's the greatest receiver of all time. Or like, oh my God, my guy went to this team and he's a pile of garbage. And I feel like it's another thing where you have to like pump the brakes. breathe and just let things play out.
Also, everyone gets really concerned about contract value, and I'm like, why do you care that much?
Oh, like Christian Kirk got $1 bazillion. Like who cares?
Christian Kirk's a good wide receiver. He's overpaid. Don't get me
also
wrong.
Guaranteed money is the real thing, not the contracts get bloated.
But does it really matter if the Jaguars are wasting money?
It doesn't matter to me. I ain't paying him.
Yeah, I don't really care. That's not.
If he performs for Trevor Lawrence and does well, then like it doesn't really matter. I mean, how much you pay.
Like, I don't know. I'm a random fan. I'd like to take a look at those budgets.
Nicole Hardman in the comment. He's a great example. Nicole Hardman, like. Is it still McCole Hardman season? Like, is that still happening?
It's always going to be McCole Hardman season. You know who I think season it is? Bryan Edwards. I think it's Bryan Edwards season, everybody.
I don't know. It was.
Yeah.
60% of the time, it's Bryan Edwards season.
But I just like with your team, like what I look at is like, just don't like freak out. Like Hill and Waddle are a good example of like, remember that talent generally wins out in these situations. So in terms of like, if you have a good player, Tyreek Hill, for example, and he goes to an offense, like, you know, goes from Kansas City to Miami, he's not like, it's not like you should sell low on him. And like, he's like, just trust the talent. Like the talent generally is going to perform well in other situations. Devontae Adams, going over to Oakland, to Las Vegas, like he's gonna play. That's his college quarterback. Like he's also Devontae Adams. He's also good. It wasn't like Aaron Rodgers made him. He's like one of the best receivers in the league. And then don't like fall in love with like the opportunity. Like something like Albert O could be good. I don't know. Like if he's the starting tight end in Denver, there, like maybe. Like, but don't.
Maybe they don't like the tight end. Maybe trading away Noah Fant. It's like, well, we're not really going to focus any sort of like significant snaps on like tight end receptions. You just don't know how it's going to scheme out necessarily. Yeah, I mean, didn't wait, now I'm like blanking out. Luckily, I don't have to be an expert, so I can grasp at who. Like it was Hackett that went to,
Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah, so
Daniel Hackett.
How often? Like, I mean, I know Tanyan was like a recent bust up, but like, how often over like the history, like recent history of Green Bay, has a tight end been like super prominent?
They really haven't had.
Like with Aaron Rodgers, like I mean, how many guys like do we even remember Jermichael Finley and some of these other like guys?
Yeah, they were always a little less than like. Didn't Jared Cook stop there for a second? He wasn't good until he went to the Saints, and like you've had some guys that like underperformed there, but like you know, I don't think it's just one of those things where you have to parse these things and find the ones that maybe matter and the ones that maybe don't. Like it's like once again like the combine. Like does it matter? Yeah, but like. It's not like the end of your team. It's not like the end of the player's value. It's just like, just kind of like assess the situations and let them play out a little more. We still have the drafts coming up where guys who fell into good spots could get a receiver drafted to their team who are going to take targets away. So
very much likely.
Very possible. But can I just say also, and this is kind of a digression, but like around this whole thing, every time a move happens, everyone's like, everyone always posts like the buy window is open, sell high on this guy, buy low on this guy. There is no such thing, really. There are very few situations where it is, and it's especially not in the offseason where there's buy lows. Because if there's a buy low or a sell high, someone has to be willing to buy high and sell low. You know what I mean? Like this doesn't happen in a vacuum. So either you are just saying stupid things or you're actively saying you should try to rip off your league mates. That's what you're saying. It's not a reality. Like the only time there's really like that kind of buy high or sell low, like that kind of like sell high windows are like contender taxes. And then other situations, you're not really selling high or buying low.
We all have the same information. I mean,
you're taking a risk, especially with like the buy low. Like
maybe he doesn't know Tyreek Hill went to the Dolphins.
We all have the same information. Like we're not like you're not going to be like, yeah, I'll take this guy off your hands for a second, and you're like, oh, who is it? Devontae Adams. That's not happening. Like, there's no buy low, really.
The other
we all
thing
have the
is
same information. Either you're buying at price and betting on them exceeding that capital, or you're like selling a guy at peak value and hoping that they take a downturn eventually. That's really the two situations.
Have you ever met anybody from any of your leagues that you talk to a lot that don't like the players on their team, generally speaking? Like, generally the players on someone's team are the greatest players of all time. Like,
I mean,
if they're on your roster,
all my teams.
They're awesome.
I'm thoroughly.
Besides you, Andrew, you're such a pessimist. And you just
I am a fantasy football nihilist.
But generally speaking, you talk to someone, they have, say, Tyreek Hill on their team or Jalen, whoever they have on their team. They're like, oh man, I love him. It's great. Like, it would take a lot for you to take him off my team.
No one's selling low. Nobody.
That's why I don't think anybody's doing that. Like, Tyreek Hill moves to a team, someone's gonna be like, I love Tyreek Hill. He's still great. So, like, you're still gonna have to trade me a lot to get this guy. And it's like, oh yeah, like, I think generally speaking, most people love their players. They're not normally gonna do that, and we all have the same information too. So someone's like, I know what you're trying to do to me here. You're trying to buy low, and I'm not gonna allow you to do that. The price has to go up, so it's hard to do that. Like, it doesn't.
And like I said, the only situation where that happens is maybe you buy low on an injured player on a compete team who needs a player to help them win a championship now. Like, that's like your buy low, and you're
less situations. There's still situations where buy low happens. It's just not every situation.
No, they're very specific, and it's almost never in the off season. Like, I'm just gonna say it, absolutely 100% never in the off season will that be a thing. You're not buying low in the offseason.
Unless someone's on charges for something and they might get suspended. Like, honestly, that's a situation where someone might be offloading a guy. Like, it's very specific to, like, and that's a gross situation anyways, or it's injury related. I don't know if this guy's tears his ACL. Maybe you could buy low because that's a whole factor there that's like potentially affecting their future. So sure.
Yeah, just like injury, it's like, if you're competing, that might affect your wanting to sell someone. And if you're trying to get rid of someone quickly, I feel like any sort of buy low, sell hot, like, is much more situational. Like, there has to be something external, like, besides just the situation that we all know is at hand. It's like the state of your team, or whether you're competing or not, like, has to kind of affect your willingness to, like, give into, like, otherwise it just has to be someone who's not knowledgeable. Like, we just the last comment on there, like, referring to one of our specific leagues, Derrick Henry got sold for the 111 and like a 23 second rounder. It's just a real undersell in the offseason for a running back who, honestly, I think the offseason is a really rough time to sell any running back. Never mind one that was injured for the better part of the last season. You're selling them at the lowest value they possibly could be. And I just don't know what you're replacing it. So there's every so often there's just like wow, that person pretty much just got rid of that player. I don't know. But
that's not an average situation. That's not. Like, it's literally just, it's an outlier because it's basically just taking advantage of an idiot. Like, that's, I don't mean to be, or I don't know the guy. That. The person taking advantage of someone who is not paying attention and operating in even a moderate replacement level dynasty manager.
I say it's taking advantage of a buffoon.
It's a real clown out here. A bunch of real wise guys running around out here.
Weisenheimers.
So the point is, I want
to ask you a question. Which moves mattered of the free agent moves? Let's actually name one.
Let me scroll down to my list.
I think actually mattered. Like, it was a real
fantasy. I'd say kind of the quarterback moves, like the Mariota and Trubisky. I know ultimately they
have jobs now, right?
Guys, but they have a job now. And if you're in Superflex, anyone with a starting quarterback job has some value, especially if we get into those compete scenarios. Someone's quarterback goes down. There's always going to be someone who gets injured. I don't know, you start offering a healthy Mariota or Mitchell Trubisky to someone who's actually putting up like QB2 numbers, you can demand probably like a variable first or something. Like, you can probably get that in Superflex.
You should try it. That's your starting point if you want to sell that.
Yeah,
you got to put it out there. Just find every team that's in the playoffs and just ask for their first for it. It's like, hopefully one of them bites. It doesn't matter which one, because those are players that had very little value besides being like a stash as someone who, you know, could potentially come back. They're former first-round quarterbacks who went into backup roles, but now they're a little redeemed. So I'd say as soon as they show any value and people have interest, cash in. Even if you're competing, just sell them. I don't know. Get some value.
if you're a surplus, get some other position.
Who cares?
If you have a bunch of
QBs,
you could flip them for probably a running back you could play, potentially. You know,
I mean, hopefully you're not relying on them. Like, I guess.
Now a move I think mattered is weapons going to quarterbacks too, also quarterback related. I do think Tua and Derek Carr are set up pretty well. Those are two quarterbacks to look at this year.
Maybe the two best wide receivers in the league, respectively, on your teams. Like, that probably helps your fantasy value. That probably
that's
matters.
Like real, like, you know, I'm looking at not the weapons and how their targets shape out there. We don't know what that is. I just know that Tua has a plethora of weapons now. Like, that's a guy who has plenty to work with now. Can he go with it? Like, we'll see. But like, you've set that guy up, and you've set Derek Carr up with the best weapons they've ever had in their careers.
The question is, will they be someone who seemingly had all the weapons and failed, like a Darnold, who couldn't succeed with what Teddy Bridgewater kind of for fantasy
DJ
purposes?
Moore,
Could they be what we talked about before the pod, where it's like a quiet QB1 in Kirk Cousins, who has had the weapons, whether it was Thielen and Diggs or now Thielen and Jefferson, certainly has the weapons and gets it done for fantasy purposes.
Yeah, so we will find out one thing. Either those quarterbacks will take a step up to flirt with QB1, back end, whatever, wherever they end up, or they will fail. And those teams will probably be moving on sooner than later. So either way, you're getting information on those, what to do with those guys. Because like, if you set a guy up like that and things don't go well, I think you're going to start to think about next draft class and things like that, trying to figure out, is this guy our future? Particularly Carr, who's a little older, but we've already had Tua trade rumors since he came in almost. Like, I mean, it's just like, hasn't been.
Yeah, he's kind of in the hot seat.
Yeah, which kind of sucks for him. I mean, that doesn't generally happen to rookies, but like, he sort of had that Fitzpatrick
just
thing.
Josh Rosen.
And then, Deshaun Watson rumors for like a year. So like, Oh, yeah, Josh Rosen.
That's true. That's true. What matters for me? I think there's a lot of things that could matter, or things that do matter, but how they matter, we don't quite know yet. Russell Wilson to Denver obviously matters. Who it matters for exactly
who's the receiver?
No. Well, that's exactly the point, because we went through this all last season. Matthew Stafford goes to the Rams, and everyone's like, Cooper Kupp or Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp or Robert Woods. It obviously turned out to be Cooper Kupp. Not that Robert Woods was bad, but like Jerry Jeudy or Cortland Sutton or Albert O or Tim Patrick, or where does their values fall out? No idea. I have no idea. It'll shake out a little bit more. Maybe it's Cortland Sutton. Maybe it's Jerry Jeudy. Maybe it's spread out amongst all of them. We don't really know, but it does matter, because it's not Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater throwing to him. It's Russell Wilson. Yeah. So
Mr. Unlimited himself.
Yeah, guys are going to have good fantasy games on that team. We just don't know who yet and how it's going to spread out during the course of the year.
Anyone who says,
I don't know how we would know that.
Anyone who says, I know for sure this is Jerry Jeudy's year in this offense, is lying. They have no idea. It could be. But they don't know.
Is he eating breakfast with Russell Wilson? Then maybe.
Tell me who's eating breakfast with Russell Wilson.
Tim Patrick.
I'm on the Tim Patrick.
It's Deshaun Hamilton, who's not on that.
Hey, KJ Hamler's on that.
KJ Hamler, yeah.
KJ Hamler. It could be the Hamburglar this year.
Yeah, it's a renaissance year for the Hamburglar himself.
That's not his nickname, but it is now. It is on this show.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's plenty of other things that matter, like Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, Dan Arnold coming back, Zay Jones going to Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson and the Jags. That's going to matter for someone. I think that offense is going to be better. It can't get more in shambles than it was under Urban Meyer. It's going to at least
what helps
be like
more, those additions or Urban Meyer leaving?
Oh, Urban Meyer for sure. Urban Meyer, I think you can't understate it enough. Like, I may not be like an expert NFL analyst, but what I do know from my day job in covering work life is the effect that a bad boss can have on productivity, and you cannot understate it. So honestly, I think Doug Peterson is a good coach and a very good offensive coach, and people revere him around the league. So I think just that alone, if nothing changed, was going to make a world of difference in that organization. I still don't think they have the roster, particularly on defense, to like make a playoff push or anything like that.
Oh, the
but
AFC is too good too.
Their offense will be at least decent this year. I feel confidently in saying that. I don't think that's a high floor. Like, I think they're going to win some games. They're going to compete in some shootouts because they don't have much of a secondary. Maybe they have a good pass rushing tandem if they draft Hutchinson, but like, you add Christian Kirk, you add Evan Ingram, you add Zay Jones for whatever he's worth. Marvin Jones is still there. Travis Etienne comes back healthy. Dan Arnold comes back healthy. That's going to be a pretty good offense with Trevor Lawrence if he does what I think we should all expect him to do given his pedigree coming out. But like, who exactly that matters for fantasy-wise, I don't know. Could Evan Ingram have a top 5 tight end season? I think it's possible with that Peterson system.
Does throw to the tight ends historically in that offense. So.
Yeah, and Evan Ingram certainly hasn't lived up to his draft capital or hype, but like, he's caught over 60 balls twice in his career. It's pretty good for a tight end. Like, he's been an above average tight end. He just hasn't been what the 23rd overall pick and next Tony Gonzalez was supposed to do. Like, he was so hyped up and he didn't live up to it. So but could he be a top 5 tight end this year? Robert Tonyan finished tight end 3 one year. That's possible. Is Christian Kirk going to be an 80 catch guy? Maybe. I just don't know exactly. Because also they could pick George Pickens at 201 and he could explode next year. Like, these are possibilities that are out there. So what Jacksonville has done matters. I just don't know how it matters. But I'm interested to watch it.
It means something.
I can't put my finger on it.
Mean? I'll put my finger on this. Stupid. Let's move on. You know what I've been obsessed with this offseason to violently transition into something else?
This is going to be a pretty violent transition.
This is going to be a pretty violent transition. You know what? The Washington football team changed their name to the Washington Commanders, and I support it. People gave them a lot of shit for changing their name to the Commanders, saying it's a bad name and this is a stupid name, and it's when you shorten it, it's the commies, and do you really want to be aligned with communism? And I say there's a lot of stupid football teams.
Their uniforms are red. Oh my god!
Someone actually say that.
Yeah, Tony Kornheiser said it. A bunch of people said it. It's the commies. They're going to be accidentally associated with communism.
Why can't they be the Mandies?
Really stupid. Sorry.
That's really stupid. You're the Commanders. You chose to do it. Is it a great name? No. Is it a terrible name? No. Is it the worst name in sports? Absolutely not. There's so many stupid team names. The New Orleans Pelicans? Pelicans? What? That's stupid.
It's the bird of choice.
The Buccaneers? Anyone who tells you the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is a good team name. It's a stupid Buccaneers. It's so much. It's like Pirates, but fancier. It's stupid. It's a
You're
terrible
right.
name. There are not one, but 2 teams in the MLB that have nicknames of different color socks. And we're complaining about the Commanders?
And there's a Reds too, just a color.
Just a color. What are we doing here? This is not.
I like blue.
I like the color blue.
Oh, St. Louis Blues. There you go. It's hockey.
Yeah. It's terrible. But Commanders
I'm
is
pretty
fine.
sure that
In
one's
5 years, no
music,
one
but-
cares.
I know. It's a color.
Like, it worked with the joke I was telling.
Yeah.
I shouldn't. Yeah, I'm sorry I denied your premise.
Well, also Winning Time, the TV show referred to this week. When they move around, it makes no sense. The Jazz
Los
are in
Angeles-
Utah.
The Los
Yeah.
Angeles Lakers. I'm sorry. The
And
Los
Lakers,
Angeles Lakers, because they're from Minnesota
Because they're from
originally,
Minnesota.
and then they moved to LA. And even Lakers, when they were in Minnesota, it's like, we get it. You're near a bunch of big lakes. But in LA, it's just fucking stupid. What are we doing here?
I mean,
What's
there's plenty of Commanders in Washington D.C. So I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Right?
That's great. The Pentagon's there. It's
Yeah.
fine. It's fine. You know what?
It's
Probably like
logical.
the best sports names, just animals. Just name it after animals. Eagles,
Well, you just shit on Pelicans.
hawks. Well, that's a stupid animal. A pelican's a
It's
stupid
a
animal.
stupid bird, and you know it. It's a step up from a dodo.
Exactly.
It's not extinct. I mean, it's still
It
around.
will be if I have anything to do with it.
Wow.
I'm,
genocide.
apropos of nothing, I'm making it my lifelong mission to cause the extinction of pelicans.
Wow, unbelievable! Hey, I hope PETA doesn't listen to this. Or to
You
animal
know what I
activists.
think the best sports name and it's not even because I'm a fan of their team. The Chicago Bulls. That's a great sports name.
Yeah.
It flows. It's
good,
a fearsome animal. It has a good logo. Although they named it Benny the Bull as their mascot. That's stupid.
Mascots
Benny-
can go awry. I mean,
Mascots could
It
go
happens.
really awry.
you know, it happens.
But like the NBA more so has better names. But 49ers, the San Francisco 49ers.
oh, that's fine. That's 49er. Minor.
I mean, it's better than the 76ers.
Gold
I
Rush?
guess I'm a fan of lower numbers.
It's definitely a timely reference for sure.
It's definitely topical.
Yeah, it's so relevant.
Las
no,
Vegas Golden Knights is pretty stupid. Knights is fine, but did you
It's
have
not
to
great.
qualify it with Golden Knights?
I don't think you did. No.
The LA Kings, great name. Love that. Miami Heat, awesome name. You know what the best name is? The Minnesota Timberwolves. I love that nickname. I
That's
love
a
the
great name.
Timberwolves.
Tampa
Great
Bay
name.
Lightning. I'm a big fan of that name. Tampa Bay
Lightning's
Lightning.
good.
Weather,
yeah.
weather patterns work for sure.
Weather patterns work.
Hurricanes,
Uh,
quality.
Hurricanes is good. We need a team that's named I don't know, the Poughkeepsie Winter Squalls. That's the name that I would be into.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure minor league teams probably have fantastic names. You go down
The
towards like
Savannah
really
Bananas.
obscure
Actually,
colleges.
sorry. That is the best name ever. The Savannah Bananas. I think they're a single A team in Georgia or like an Atlantic League team. I don't know. Their TikTok's awesome. The Savannah Bananas. It's awesome. Their story's great.
We have
Look,
any
I do
mon-
like-
monsoons.
I do
Bring
like
it back
very
to
local.
weather,
I
'cause
do
I'm
like
still on
very
that.
localized, like kind of weird names, like Boilermakers and pretty. Like I like. There's some quality college ones.
The Milwaukee Brewers is a good name. Like I like that for Milwaukee.
Brewery,
Like that's like
The guy, yeah, and it's beer, and then the guy comes down the slide and goes into the big pitcher of beer. That's their thing. Yeah,
their mascot is a drunk.
the drunk guy, the drunk guy in the suit comes down the thing, and
They're like, imagine this. We don't have to pay a mascot because there will be at least one drunk making a fool of himself every night.
You know what may be the worst sports team name? And I don't hate the team by any means, but the Buffalo Bills. And it's not really their fault. Initially, I guess it was named after the Wild West figure, Buffalo Bill. But now it's just associated with a fictional serial killer from the Silence of the Lambs
Yeah.
bookend movie, Buffalo
Well.
Bill. So it's not great. Also, their mascot is a buffalo. which doesn't.
I'm very confused.
I get it's your city name, but that's not really the point of nicknames. No one's like the Philadelphia Eagles. Their mascot's not a Philadelphia. You know what I mean? So it's
Draw me a Philadelphia.
It's
Let's
just a
go
little weird.
Full commercialized and just be the Buffalo Wild Wings. Just go just to sell out completely.
Yeah! Yes, I would
Just-
love. Please, can we just admit it's a capitalist venture at best, which is why I support the commies, co-socialism. That's neither here nor there, but they just
You're getting
went
some
full on
strong
in
political
to like
takes.
we all know this is just a capitalist endeavor. Just give naming rights. It can be the Buffalo Wild Wings. You can
We
be
got a new
the
expansion team. It's called Papa John's. That's it.
Oh my
What?
god. Where should an expansion team be? The Oklahoma City DiGiorno's? Like, I don't know.
The Oklahoma Tombstones.
That works. Tombstone pizza.
Or
I don't think
Tuscaloosa.
Tombstone's it. I don't think Tombstone's
I want
a
the
big enough brand.
alliteration. The Tuscaloosa Tombstones.
I love it. I support it. Just lead full into it. Oh God, we should wrap this up. Let's wrap it up with our final segment that we're introducing called "What's Not Ruining Our Life." So non-football things that we're into this week, and starting with you, Andrew. What's not ruining your life this week?
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably second what Jay already mentioned with the show Winning Time. That's kind of the latest show I've taken on that I think is very enjoyable, but also giving a shout out to just infinitely watching RuPaul's Drag Race. That's always a source of everyone stay love. But yeah, I'm finally caught up on 14 whole seasons of that show, and that might bum me out a little bit. I don't have a bunch to watch anymore.
No. You have plenty to watch because you have
3
seasons of UK. You have 1 season of Down Under. You have España. You have Thailand. You have Norway. You have UK versus the world, and then you have the myriad of content on WoW Presents Plus. Wow, World of Wonder, one of Fast Company's most innovative companies this year. Shout out to the company I work for, Fast Company. Check that out at fastcompany.com, and also our podcast. Thanks so much for listening. Back to you, Jerry.
Well, thanks for hijacking that for a bunch of shameless plugs. Anytime, feel free to just interject that.
Also, buy Papa
But yeah,
John's.
you are completely right. I'm not even close to scratching the surface of all. It never stops.
It doesn't. It's an empire. The RuPaul empire continues. Team Willow.
But yeah, now I think I'm all for bringing this visibility into the fantasy football world. We already put it on Twitter a few times, but merging the world of drag with fantasy football, it's a thing.
I know there's at least a couple people in the community. I think Kelly Singh and there's someone else who's a big Tara, who's a big drag race fan, out there. So
it's out there.
Confirmed.
We love it. Jay, you've yet to start watching. I know it's daunting, a lot of seasons. But
we tried to theorize where to start you if you were to agree, and we said
I feel like if there's
watch season 6.
Yeah.
Just that.
Bianca Del Rio, Adore Delano, Courtney Act.
Sure.
Yeah.
All the greats.
Is there Ben de la Creme, Darian
Yes,
Lake,
and Jay.
Jocelyn Fox.
I'll add it to my list.
Wah. Shout out Jocelyn Fox. Keep it foxy. Anyways, Jay, what's not ruining your life this week?
Well, besides that segment ruining my life. Winning Time, also watching Winning Time.
Sorry, I just have to say, I don't think there has ever been any podcast in the fantasy football space that has ever referenced Jocelyn Fox and her catchphrase, keep it foxy. Wah.
I would probably. Well, unless they.
I'm very proud of that. That's a first.
No football podcast.
Go ahead.
So Winning Time, that's a great show. Also, watch Moon Knight, like that, the new Marvel show. Oscar Isaacs. That guy can act. That's
Yeah.
great. Having fun.
Yeah, I'll watch
really
him
good
do
show.
anything. That's just
If you like Marvel shows, like you probably are watching that one anyways. But if you're not, and you saw Oscar Isaacs in like Star Wars as Poe Dameron, like he's fantastic in this. So watch
Such a
that
great
show.
actor.
And
Then
Winning
on
Time's
Broadway-
great. Yeah, and I'm excited for Slow Horses on Apple TV, which I want to watch too. So
yes.
I have a lot of shows on. I have too many shows to watch, guys. So I don't know when I'm gonna ever catch RuPaul, but maybe one day.
That's why we got it
A lot
down
of
to
good
one
TV out
season.
there.
Just one season.
Too much good TV, guys. I'm sorry.
We're gonna have to
much
talk.
good TV.
We're gonna have to talk Katrina into it.
All
So you just
I'll keep with the TV theme on there. There's a few things that I've been watching that have been good. Winning Time I started. I'll third that as we go out there. Amy Schumer's series on Hulu, Life and Beth, really great.
I
watch.
saw.
I really like that one. And then I'm just gonna say the Boston Celtics.
Oh
I'm living for the Boston Celtics
Second place.
game now.
The game
Second
we went
place.
to was where they took
They're-
first place. Like we picked
Oh,
quite
yeah.
a game to go to.
Yeah, we went to see the Minnesota games, although that was the game that Robert Williams tore his meniscus. But
I
he
know.
will be
Yeah.
back. Everything is best case scenario with that. He should be back. This team, I just love the way
They
they play.
need him. Yeah, kind of, because he's a big piece there.
They need them versus Milwaukee.
Yeah,
I'm not scared
to
of
get
any other
through.
team.
You need him to get through because he
Brooklyn's scary at any time, but
He needs to
I'm not-
defend.
Brooklyn can't defend shit.
True.
I'm not worried
They-
about Brooklyn. Not
they
that
just
we're not
feel
gonna
like
face
the
them in the first
offense.
round anyways.
Yeah, they just
Yeah,
feel
we
like
should
the
miss them.
offensive ceiling of that.
Probably
like, scary
Cleveland.
at any time.
Probably Cleveland first round, maybe.
Might be Cleveland. Depends on where they shake
They
out.
play
Ideally,
yeah.
it's Cleveland or Chicago. Those are probably the ones.
Yeah, you don't want to play
really
Toronto.
want.
Toronto's a pain in the ass.
Toronto's just a pain. They're always a pain. Scotty Barnes is awesome. I love Scotty Barnes. Fred VanVleet. I do like that team. If you're the Celtics, you'll beat them in the first round.
But yeah, it's just gonna be a pain in the ass.
It's just a pain in the ass. Yeah, Nick Nurse is a phenomenal coach. That's just, you don't want to face them in the first round. But yeah, Celtics have been great. I think this team is really a contender, although I think it'll be tough for any team to beat the Suns. The Phoenix Suns are an absolute juggernaut this year. But I'm hoping for a Suns Celtics final. And it'll be really fun to see because I love Chris Paul. If the Celtics aren't going to win, I want to see Chris Paul
a
get his
win-win.
title.
Win-win.
And then I get to watch the Celtics get to the finals, and this team is locked in. Robert Williams is extended, Marcus Smart is signed, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are locked in, and that's your core for the next however long you have them, and that's pretty
So
nice.
young players, yeah.
Yeah,
just like getting into their prime. Like
and Derek White was a great pickup. I would lock him down in there as well. Marcus Smart turning into a real point guard, really like taking that role and running with it, having his best season ever, career high in assists, and the odds-on favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year at this point. It's really been a joy to watch. I haven't had this much fun watching the Celtics in a few years. So this is nice to see. So hoping for a deep playoff run with them. And I think that is a great place to end it. That's all for this week's inaugural episode of Fantasy Football Ruined My Life. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at FF Ruined My Life on Twitter. Tell us what you want to talk about in fantasy football, what you're obsessed with, what ruined your fantasy offseason, or what made your fantasy offseason. Just let us know what you're obsessed with and want to talk about on this show, and we'll try to get to it. And remember to tune in every Thursday night right here on YouTube. Remember to smash that subscribe button. Fantasy Football Ruined My Life every Thursday night at 9 p.m. And of course, thank you, as always, to Jay and Andrew. Thank you, Jay.
Thanks, Josh. Check me out on Twitter at JYC_DFF. I contribute a little bit for goingfor2.com. So check that out as well.
And thank you, Andrew.
Thanks. You can find me at Drewc_music on Instagram and Twitter, and then also find any of the music stuff, like the music we had at the top for my band Ghost in the Snow. Go to ghostinthesnow.com, and you can find all the links to the socials and streaming sites. Yeah, you can tell that I'm not used to giving all the promos out. Was I ever good at giving all of them?
Ghost in the Schmo. And I'm at DFFJ Chris on Twitter. Thanks so much for listening, and tell your friends. And hopefully you find something that doesn't ruin your life this week. Thanks so much. Hold up those drinks, boys. Bye.